The top performers are proudly sponsored by Warrington Wolves Supporters Trust Squad Builder. Here are your top performers from round number 7 of the Betfred Super League. The most tries scored this week was James McDonnell of the Leeds Rhinos with a magnificent 4. The most try assists came from Jake Connor of the Leeds Rhinos with 3. Whilst the top meters made in the round were from Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors with 206. The most clean breaks came from Lee Leopard's Darnell McIntosh, he got 3. Whilst the most tackleables came from Lachlan Miller of Leeds Rhinos with 11. The most hard meters made, you've got to be a prop forward, second row loose forward in this one was Alex Bella of Castleford Tigers, 165. Whilst the most offloads came from Warrington Wolves, Paul Vaughan, he got 6. The top tackler in the round was Jack Omroyd of Salford Red Devils, 52. And finally, the most goals kicked came from Espiro Bichet of Catalans Dragons, 7 out of 8. These are your top performers from round number 7, the Betfred Super League. This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington Wolves match days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. Well, good evening, and apologies. I'm not quite sure Bazza has been found and he's in the chat. As you can see there, Bazza Kingston, a very, very worried-looking man on Final Whistle podcast this Sunday. By all accounts, he has been brushed out of Hull because he wore a Wakefield Trinity shirt on the Final Whistle podcast. Look at the look on his face. He was very worried indeed, wasn't he, Mr. Sale?
He certainly was, mate, and very surprising for a Hull guy. Unbelievable. Absolutely shocking, Bazza. Shocking.
Disgraceful behaviour from Bazza Kingston. I don't care what anybody says. Incredible. Anyway, great to have you company as always, boys. Great to see so many already in the chat. Bazza is already in the chat. He is safe and well. The Trim Brigade, of course, we'll be putting him on their shoulders at Magic for flying the Trim flag on final whistle. What a top man he is, Matty Timms in. And of course, we're starting with Matty Timms. Of course, Matty's run is on its way. Action for Alfie. The running total today, £535 raised to make sure that Alfie dreams come true, that we can give him some wonderful memories, all apart Super League Raw, and the efforts, of course, of Matt Timms. Please do go over to the GoFundMe page, Action for Alfie. Pledge, let's get that young man as many memories and his family as many memories as possible. Of course, they're going to have one.
Just on that one, mate, the first £100 from the Good Estate Agent will be landing on Thursday. So the first completion since we announced that is happening this Thursday. So the first contribution will be going to that GoFundMe on Friday morning, probably. Sorry,
it's as good as £635 already in there, and it will continue to go up. So that's happy days. So of course we wish Mr. Timms all the very best in that. Great to have your company. Loads to get through, as always, here on Super League Raw. Well, you can see there, Bazza, he's already putting his excuses. I saw a Trinity badge on that top, Bazza. I didn't see a Roosters one. I must go to Specsavers. Speaking of which, we will be talking about referees today as well. Such is public demand. But before we do, of course, Magic Weekend is on its way. Greg Roach mentioned about the caps that this season, saying should Super League Raw members be donning the baseball caps at Magic. Yours truly heard that. So for those listening on the podcast, what we've just done there is we've just shown, we can't even see me, disgraceful. We've just shown the Magic Weekend t-shirt for 2025. All of the fixtures on the back, very similar to last year's, but a different design on the front. And we're saying to the non-members, you can have free delivery on this now, £22 on the website. And I know what the members are thinking, Dave, mate, but they're non-members. What are you doing for us? I couldn't agree with you more. So what I've decided to do for the members is this. That's right. With the promo code MAGIC, you can have a baseball cap and the t-shirt for 50 notes. There you go. So when you consider that the baseball cap's 33 quid on its own, you can don the baseball cap and the shirt for 50 quid at your checkout page, members. Just put MAGIC in there as your promo code and it will knock off the money. And my plan for this as well, if it's okay with you, is I will bring them to Magic with me, because I don't want to risk people not getting it with the post and this, that, the other. So I'll bring a big bag of goodies with me on Magic Weekend with the t-shirts and the caps. And there you go. I do know a couple have already bought the caps. Don't worry about that. Send me a private message. We'll top you up with the t-shirt if that's what you want to do. You won't be out of pocket. But a little bit of a promo code there. MAGIC for the members, 50 quid. Baseball cap and t-shirt. That's all right, Reggie, isn't it?
That's fine. Absolute bargain, sir. A bargain.
Yeah, Joe was on about buying a cap as well. He's getting right giddy there in Huddersfield. Likes a bargain in Huddersfield, don't you, Joe?
Certainly do. We always like a 2-for-1.
Absolutely. And Mr. Sale, it gets much better as well, because I'm proud to announce today that the members, please open your ears for this one. I want to repay your faith and your loyalty in the promotion that you do for me and the lads on this channel. So from today, it starts today. Every time you refer somebody to Super League Raw and they take out a paid membership, you will be credited £10. That's right, £10 for every member that you bring to Super League Raw. And of course, that will go off your memberships for next year, or you can use it as credit towards merchandise, whatever you want. So basically, any member that you refer to Super League Raw now, you will get a bit back. You will get 10 quid back. It's only right and proper that I reward you for the great work you do in promoting this channel. That's all right, Steph, isn't it?
No, it's fantastic, mate. It just gets better and better for the members. And is it now probably the right time to mention we've had to recall the white hoodie due to how attractive it makes you to the ladies?
Well, exactly. The white hoodies are the way to go, aren't they? They are the way to go.
Funny enough, guys, nobody asked for mine back.
But there they are anyway. So yeah, last year's t-shirts went down a storm on the back of all the fixtures. It's really smart. So yeah, if members want that, then great. Non-members, if you just want the t-shirt, they're 22 now. You can have them as free delivery. Happy days. Wonderful. In terms of Super League Raw going to the Challenge Cup final, that now pretty much is going to be over. Those tickets are being ordered tomorrow. So if you want to come with Super League Raw to the Challenge Cup final through the website, you've got less than 24 hours to join us at the Challenge Cup final. I have to move that one forward. And of course, we will be discussing the grand final in the next few weeks as well. Appreciate it's a long way to Wembley. Some people don't like to make that pilgrimage if the team's not there. But if you do want to come, if you're going regardless, you've got 24 hours to sort that, because I need to get that boxed off as quickly as possible. Hey, that's been a bit of a start to the show, boys, hasn't it?
Has
been a bit of a start to the show. So that's enough. Of course, last plug, if you want to become a member, the promo code, the QR code will be on the screen for most of the show. Come on, become a member. Massive welcome as well to new members. Kerry Dixon, a new member as well this week. It'd be wrong for me not to say a big hello to them. But right, let's get on with it. We know how we do the news at Super League Raw. We do it this way. Banging or hanging? Yes, it's that part of the show that many people love, banging or hanging, of course, where we get rid of the faces. One face only can have a discussion on the big news stories that are hitting the pages in the last 24 to 48 hours. So first up this week, for a change, let's get me old mucker Joel on. Let's have Joel going first this week. So Joel, mate, over to you. This man, JWH, has announced his retirement. What a career he's had. We can see it on the screen, his honours. Would you like to pay tribute to one of the greatest prop forwards ever to play the game of rugby league?
Fantastic player. By the time he retires, he'll be 36, I believe. He's a fantastic player. In the NRL, he's made some big moves. I think any team that's ever come up against him would have been very, very careful how they went in on him, because they know that whether he was in the attack or in the defence, they was coming up against a really solid unit in a man. So it's banging, it's hanging for rugby league, but certainly to have such a man grace the field over the years, and to have him in Super League, it's been banging. So it's a real shame that he's going, but he obviously knows his body better than anybody else.
Imagine if
if he thinks it's time to go, that's it.
Imagine if he won a grand final to add to that 3 NRL titles before he hangs up his boots. That could be very interesting indeed, couldn't it? Happy days indeed. Right, we're going to say goodbye to Joel, and we're going to say hello to Greg. Greg's coming in. Greg, happy days, mate. Everton sold out, just Wembley to go. It would appear that the Ashes are alive and well, sir.
Oh, isn't this fantastic news? Sold out within an hour, I believe, of tickets going on general sale. I think the warning went out Sunday night that there are a number of tickets left, and sold out within an hour on the Monday morning. Absolutely brilliant. Can't wait. I'm going to that one. 2 sold out venues. People say rugby league is dying, but when you get games like this, it injects new life, fresh life into the sport. There's an excitement around the sport again. It's about time. It's been a long time since we've had an Australia tour to this country. So yeah, I mean, come on, let's get behind this series, and let's get buying tickets for Wembley as well.
Happy days,
and the RFL needs to start advertising it in London.
Well, yeah, the advertising, other than through usual rugby league fraternity, yeah, you're right. They've got to go bigger.
Get it on the side of buses, the side of taxis.
It's going to be a great series.
There's loads of Aussies live in London. I'm sure they will be, more than happy to get tickets for Wembley for this.
It's going to be a great series. So Everton Stadium sold out, Headingley sold out, just Wembley to go. Let's get behind that. Right, goodbye to Mr. Nixon and hello to Mr. Sale. Mr. Sale, of course, out goes Mr. Hargreaves. In comes Tom Amone. Yes, that's right. When the moon hits the sky like a big pizza pie, Tom Amone is back in Super League. Oh, yes, Castleford Tigers. Outstanding for them from now until the end of the season. Back for KR. Leigh didn't want him, mate. Not that they didn't want him. Didn't want to deal with his agent. Big signing for KR, this.
Yeah, it's a bit like when your favourite pub burns down this for Leigh fans.
Queen Rick.
Yeah, I'm well impressed you brought me on this one. Thanks for that, Dave. That's thinking. But no, in terms of for Castleford, for KR, and for Super League as a whole, this is absolutely banging, because not only is this guy one of the best prop forwards that I've ever seen play the game, he's also one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet as well. He's a top guy, is Tom. Former neighbour of mine, a lot of time for him. And for him in his career, he's got to do what's best for him. So I made up for Tom that he's got a brilliant contract. I think it's a 3-year deal at KR. And what a club to be going to as well. If you're going to sign for one of the clubs in Super League, KR is probably the one to go to. So this is absolutely banging for Super League and for KR and for Castleford.
Sometimes, though, on social media, people really should think before they start letting the pinkies do the work. There was one KR fan who said, so shouldn't it be till 2029 as he's playing for Castleford till the end of this year? Oh, dearie me. Don't go posting things like that. Anyway, one of his Robin's faithful put him right in terms of the quick arithmetic. Outstanding stuff. Right, let's get back to Mr. Scholes, shall we? Here he comes. And Mr. Scholes, next up for you. Go on, fill your boots, sir. From almost perfect rounds 1 to 3 to round 7. Where's the consistency and common sense gone in our refereeing fraternity? Over to you, Mr. Scholes.
Yeah, I have noticed a shift in the refereeing a bit. I remember towards the end of last year, the beginning of to the end of last year, we were kind of saying, there was a change in how the referees were doing things. We just couldn't understand, could we, how they were making certain decisions, and then the next minute on the same game, they're making the same decisions with different outcomes. This week, I've really noticed some very strange refereeing, and it seems to be turning again. I don't know what's being said at the head of the refereeing system, but I'm just I'm a bit confused, to be honest with you, because I thought it was starting to get a bit better, because they started the season off pretty well, and I thought these refs are doing pretty well, and then, as you can all probably have been able to see throughout this round, it's just been strange. So yeah, we'll see how these next few weeks come.
And we're not saying for 1 minute the referees have influenced fixtures. I think, in all of the games this weekend, the teams first and foremost have got to look at themselves. But that said, there were some very odd decisions this weekend. You've got to be getting knock-ons right. You've got to be getting forward passes right, the basics of the game. And for whatever reason at the moment, we gave them massive raps, didn't we, on this show, the first 3 rounds, saying it was a breath of fresh air for whatever reason. And look, just like players, referees can go off form. Let's hope that they bring it back to form as soon as possible. We say goodbye to Joel. We bring back in Sir Reginald Nixon, because, Greg, you're going to be talking about this man, Chris Irwin, on Sky Sports. Or was it Sandy Shaw? Was he a puppet on a string?
I don't know, but fair play to John Wilkin. He did kind of make some very, very good points. He gets a lot of pelters, John Wilkin. But you know what? I thought he fronted him up well. I think Chris Irwin was in a bit of a position, if I'm being honest. He's gone out there as the voice of the club. He's obviously got a message to say. There's obviously a lot going on around the club, a lot that he can't maybe kind of talk about as well. He's the face, he's the PR, he's the comms. It's an awful position to put somebody in when there's so much controversy around a subject. He has to spin, and I'll say that word spin because he has to spin a positive where we know there are a lot of negatives. So, yes, I don't think puppet's quite the right word. I think spin is the word that we use there to kind of, he has to put a positive message on what is really an awful position for that club at this moment in time.
I was half hoping you were going to give us a bit of Sandy Shaw. Oh, like a puppet on the street. Anyway, we can't have you.
I can't, because I've been already.
Oh, yes. That's been in the
comments. I'm like a on string all the time, mate.
Yeah, Greg is using his arms, ladies and gentlemen. It has been noted in the chat.
Arms crossed.
Get him crossed, sir. Reggie goes, back comes Mr. Sale, because we're going to stay on this topic. Over to you, Mr. Sale. Based on Tony Sutton's performance on Sky, are we buying that due diligence has been done fully with regards to Salford Red Devils? Yes or no?
Well, you'd have to say no, wouldn't you? Given the since they've passed him as the owners, and being able to suitable to run a club. It's been nothing but drama, has it? So I think it speaks for itself, doesn't it? And it's just a very, very sad. I agree with what they said in the chat. First time I've agreed with Wilkin. I just want it over and done with. I'm sick of talking about it now. It's boring, and I just want a resolution for the Salford fans and the players, because they're the ones who are suffering in this. And hopefully something can positively come out of this very soon for everybody, for the good of the game.
Well, what I would say is, I mean, really, we would hope that these interviews would have been banging for the Salford Red Devils fans on Friday. When you see these people coming out, you think, here we go, let's get from the horse's mouth what's going on. And I thought both of the interviews were hanging. They were shocking. I'm not even a Salford fan, and I'm watching it with my hands in my head in my hands, whichever way you want to say. And I'm going, what on earth am I listening to here?
But it's we try and be as positive as we possibly can on this show.
We do.
And big everything up. But I was trying to think of another sport that would do this in front of the cameras and play out this soap opera, which is becoming. And yes, we all want information. I just think anybody neutral or turning into rugby league for the first time, if that's what you're tuning into as a match build up, you're thinking, what the X this sport about, and you just turn off. Yeah. So let's just hope for everybody's sake this sorry saga ends and soon.
Couldn't agree more. Boys, that was a brilliant run through some of the 6 big news stories thus far this week. Let's just quickly go into the chat. They're all very busy. Matt Timms saying thank you for starting the show with Action for Harvey. Not at all, sir. Thank you is what I would say for your hard efforts. Bazza Kingston saying I'm a fantastic cropper, maybe even Roy Cropper. I'll take that as a compliment, Mr. Kingston. I don't mind telling you that at all. Joel, people still having to go to your internet connection. Totally unfair. Don't know what all that's about. Matty Timms was the one who said that Reggie, of course, was sitting on his hands. Carl's in the chat talking about big dogs. 2 hours now, mate. Based on the weekend, you've got to build yourself back up after that. Is what I would say. Only joking. Is Amona available for Thursday? I would expect so. Craig Forth, they're asking about.
I don't think he's been mentioned. I don't think he's been named in the squad, Dave.
Well, unless they get dispensation, he'll certainly be there. Where he'll be certainly there for Magic. Good old Tom Amona. Oh yes. Oh, hey. What a great day for Super League. Big Tom back. I mean, it's been getting a bit boring, Herman Essay, every week in Team of the Week. It's got a bit of genuine competition now. Big Tom's back.
Got Pangai Jr. as well, mate.
Pangai, yeah, a bit of Pangai Jr. as well. So we just thought we'd give a little shout out to a few of our people that are watching us. Martin, Chris Irwin knows we're still well above any level of sustainability, but he can't sell any more players because the Rugby Football League are now saying we can't play the new loan signings that we made. It is an absolute dog's dinner, Matt. And like Steph said, we try and remain positive. But again, there's a big story. There is a big story. And I thought, you know what, we'll do this collectively because there's another big story that is just looming around the game at the moment, and it's this one, gentlemen. NRL Europe debate and Catalan Dragons coming under serious scrutiny. I mean, Steve McNamara even coming out after the game, he's really trying to say what is going on here. We look at what we've done for the sport, yada, yada, yada. Greg, I'll kick off with you. Okay. First of all, NRL coming in. Talk of 33%. They want a 33% stake and they want pretty much total control of all major decisions, I think from 2028 is what I'm reading. Martin Sadler in League Express said, well, at 33%, there's still a minority shareholder. So it's going to be same old. And I take his point, but I would expect there's a lot of people that are backing the NRL. So I actually feel that 33, I think they've got enough CEOs behind them that could sort itself out in terms of their weight. But that said, if it's in the contract that it's 33%, however, we have got total control of X, that could sort itself out. From your perspective, is the time now for NRL Europe to happen or NRL UK to happen and get these two Southern and Northern hemispheres closer together and really move forward in promoting our sport?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, 33%, they're dipping their toes in the water. I think it's a tester. And I think they maybe give it, if it make a success, they will invest more and more into it in the future. But yeah, for me, the time is right for fresh ideas, just like in 1995 when Sky came in and bought the sport for 87 million. It's 30 years and, we have progressed in some respects and we haven't in others. And I think it's time that something happens. to reinvigorate the sport and to put some energy back into the sport. The NRL is a huge success. It's leagues ahead of, I won't say leagues ahead, but it is a far better product because of what is put into it than the Super League is. And that's no disrespect to the players or the clubs. It's just that, it's a national sport in Australia. It gets the funding, it gets the investment, it gets the coverage. And I think the time is now right, as I say, for a new direction for rugby league in this country.
Joel, it can't be any worse, can it? I mean, we love this sport. Like, we're passionate about this sport. That's why we do what we do, and that's why our community continues to grow. And the more we entrench ourselves into our community, we have this one thing that binds us all, is our love and passion for rugby league, and we want it to be successful in this country. It's fair to say it's been failing, and if you carry on doing what you've always done, it's that old saying, you're going to get what you've always got. We need a fresh approach, and the NRL have been there, got the T-shirt. I mean, by all accounts, they've got them queuing up for the rights for the World Cup, mate.
Yeah, I think I agree with you with 98% of that. The only caveat to it that I think it would fail, and this is where they've got to take on some of the UK and European thought process, is that if they, and I don't think this will happen, I don't think it can happen, if they want to bring it down to 10 team league, game over, done. Because then the league that's in England, that will have the likes of Huddersfield's in, your Salford's in, which as it stands you would imagine Castleford's, that league then just becomes like, let's be honest, it's not a championship league, it's almost like League One again. And we can't be having that because that will kill rugby in England on the whole. I'm sure it'd be lovely, but NRL 17 team league, you can't have the UK or Europe being an NRL league without having a minimum of 14 clubs in it, because as we all know, the NRL is a massive league. It's got 17 Premier Leagues, and then you've got your South Sydney, the league underneath. Can't forget him.
Queensland Cup and all that, yeah.
You've got your reserve.
Yeah.
Thank you, Queensland Cup. You've got your reserve league, which is your Queensland Cup. So, you're doubling the amount of teams, if not a bit more than what you've got in there. So, really, you're not growing the sport by reducing the numbers. So as long as they don't do that 10 team thing, that's just ridiculous. And I'm not saying that as a Huddersfield fan. I'm saying that as a rugby fan. Think of the thousands of people that it'll take away from the sport. And that's what you don't want. Your people like your Skies and your BBC, your Channel 4s, they don't want less people coming to watching the game, because I'll guarantee now, if all these teams like my club that would go down and wouldn't be part of that European League, and I totally understand why, you're then going to lose your fan bases completely, because people are certainly not going to go to the games if they're going to be downgraded like that. And I think there was even a talk of like Leigh being included in that, because you've got Wigan and Leigh in the same borough tier with how they're playing, certainly more so than we should. But then you look at the likes of us, all right, the performance is terrible, but you've got the birthplace of rugby league, and they're not thinking about things like that. So the NRL wanting full control over what? I don't know. But what they can't have control over is who's in this league, because that has to be decided from the UK, because otherwise it's no longer a UK league.
Well, one of the big front runners in terms of change, not necessarily the NRL, but certainly change, is Derek. And there's no way Derek's a far better businessman to sign a deal that means Leigh in it. So I don't foresee Leigh being at risk, if I'm being honest. Big grenade coming here your way, Mr. Sale. There's a sceptical part of me in terms of this 10 teams. Is there a behind closed door vision? And I know this will make Joel very angry. So if you want to turn your camera off, Joel, so you can start throwing furniture, do. Is there a little bit of, well, if we reduce down to 10, it almost might force the likes of Huddersfield and a Halifax merger, or that type of thing? We've been here before in 96, where they go, well, look, you're not sustainable. I'm sorry, you're not sustainable as a team. He's gone. You're not sustainable. is there a move towards that? Maybe getting people to re-look at themselves, Steph, maybe, about this?
I think those conversations may happen. I think there may be some discussions about Leigh and Salford merging and becoming Manchester. That could be potentially one that gets thing. To me, that would be appalling as a tourist, as at Leigh being a founder club, like Joel just mentioned, the birthplace of rugby league. It'd be ironic if they actually kicked the two clubs out who are actually making money in Leigh and Wakefield out of the league. That would be quite a bit of irony, and also including the increase in fan base year on year in terms of doubling that over the last 3 years. That would be ironic. It'd be even more ironic that every single fan in rugby league moans about loot fixtures. Well, what do you think is going to happen with 10 teams? You're going to be playing. We're going to be playing Warrington a hell of a lot.
100%.
So it's going to get really, really boring.
Yeah,
if the NRL are coming in, it needs the investment. It needs to go to 14 teams. We need to get rid of loot fixtures, and then the fans can start to buy into a proper league system. And people then say to me, there's not enough quality players, Steph. Well, the answer to that is you scrap quota. You get rid of the quota. You can bring as many New South Wales as you want. The top English talent will still come through. Nobody's telling me that Mikey Lewis would not come through despite the fact we brought Australians over. There's an abundance of players. Tom Amone's a great example of who can be outstanding in this competition, but yet are relegated to the New South Wales Cup. Let's bring them over. We want to see the best players playing that scope. I don't care whether they're English or whether they're Australian. I want to see the best players that are possible for us to bring. And the only way we're going to do that is by going to 14 teams, get rid of the loot fixtures, and scrap the quota.
Tasty stuff this Tuesday night.
Can I just add on top of that?
Go on, mate.
Dave, can I just add on something that Steph's just said there? And I think it's a great. Everything that Steph said is perfect. Is if we can every year include another team to the league each year or every 2 years, if it allows it and the growth goes, that's how you grow. And if these take away the quota spots, absolutely fantastic idea, because then you do have your players that you've got, and then you can grow it even one team per year, provided that they hit the quota spots of the criteria of what it is, whether it's still AMG or not.
Yeah. I'm going to have my take on this. I think for me, we know that the NRL are awash with cash. And I think what we also know, and I'll say Craig Forth's in the chat saying that the NRL are much better marketed. They are a powerhouse now in terms of negotiation, in terms of TV rights, etc. What I would love to happen is for the NRL to come in and say, right, we're going to chuck in a chunk of dough that is going to allow for a 14-team comp, and we'll review it in 3 years. Sky, because we're doing that, you can kiss your however millions that you're doing at the moment. We want from you X, or we're going out, and we're gonna with Fox League it. We'll stream it. We'll do whatever, and really hold Sky's feet to the flaming terms of money. And then you've got that injection of cash. But then once that injection of cash comes through, people need to be accountable for that money. We had this before where money came into our sport and we absolutely wasted it. I'd like to think we've got better owners now, that we've got better people running within the clubs better. So they need to be held accountable for this money, for growing the game. And I think if they do that, we could have a very different looking Super League by 2029, 2030. That's my hope. But I think the NRL have got that much power that if they did come in, I think that they could really bully Sky into producing a much better payday for the Super League clubs. And then, like I say, unlike when money gets thrown to the NHS and other things and there's no checks and balances, there's got to be checks and balances in this, and then away we go from there. So that's my view. We're going to carry on this debate, but let's just quickly look in the chat. I mean, it's like there, John saying Leigh, Casford, Huddersfield and Salford out. That'd be tragic. You can't. I mean, of all of those 4 clubs, Leigh's a success story.
Leigh have been one of the great
people getting upset about Castleford because we've had the stadium for how many years? Still ain't happening. Huddersfield, by Joel's own admission, it ain't great. But that said, it's Huddersfield and Ken David and all the rest of it. I wouldn't kick him out for going to 14 teams. Let's put it that way. I think Salford's in trouble. I think Salford, by their own admission, if they're not expecting a little bit of pain here, I think they're very naive. I think they're going to be made an example of based on how farcical this season's been. That's just one of those things for me. What else have we got in the chat? Boys, have a look. If anything grabs your fancy, let me know as we're going through that. So
Don Kirby saying Disney and Amazon want it in on the new TV deal to compete with Nine and Fox.
Well, there you go. There you go. Right, here we go.
Can I just say a nice little...
But I want to go in on Phil here. So Phil's saying people say not enough talent for 14 teams by reducing the areas it's played will reduce interest. No, by increasing the quality of the professional game, it will grow up. Look what's happening in women's sport. And the reason that women's sport is growing at an exponential rate is because, females now can look at female athletes and aspire to something. I mean, at the end of the day, when I was a kid, Eric Cantona was French. He's my favourite player.
Yeah.
He actually made me want to go out and play and kick a football.
Yellow card, Dave. Yellow
card. But I've got to use an example, Greg.
Yeah, I know,
that is the example. Yeah,
I think Phil's saying though. I think
he's agreeing with what we're saying.
Yeah, he's saying by reduce. So he's saying if you kick Castleford and Huddersfield out, it's going to reduce interest. So therefore there'll be even less English players coming through. I think that's what.
If they were to be kicked out, but if they weren't to be kicked out, if we're going back to what you were saying, Steph, if the money comes into the sport, if better players are playing the sport, that's going to increase interest.
Absolutely,
it's going to be a better product.
Yeah. I think that's what Phil's saying, actually, Dave.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah. All right, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's where.
I do think that there may be some mergers. If the NRL come in, I think some teams will merge. Who they are, I'm not sure. Steph says Salford and Leigh. I don't think Salford and Leigh would merge. I think it's more likely Salford and Swinton, maybe, or Oldham in that mix. But I think there may well be some mergers on the cards.
Given we know Derek is a bit of a visionary, do you not think he would fall on his sword in terms of the Leigh name? And Leigh fans are going to go, they'll be turning over here when I say this. But for the bigger picture, we've already, had the rebrand to the Leopards. Would he not, if they're playing at the LSV, would they not go, do you know what? It's a case of we're playing Super League or not, we'll go to be Manchester. I would hate it, for me, that's Leigh's history gone if you do that. But it's also gone if Leigh aren't in Super League. Leigh have worked, and Derek's put in millions to get Leigh to where they are now. And finally, to get over that first season of being relegated, to now be a sustainable club that's making £2.5 million, to then be kicked out for no other reason other than they want to reduce it to 10 teams would be hard to take. And if they offered him Manchester to stay in, it's a tough decision, isn't it?
It is a tough.
It's a non-starter.
I'd be amazed if that was the case. If I'm being honest,
I'm not saying I would like it. I wouldn't.
But Steph, it's bigger than that. I mean, we're seeing our sport. I mean, look at Salford, and Salford fans will say this: they are seeing their club die before their eyes. This could be the sport in 20 years. So we're at a point now. We love rugby league. I think the majority will come out of this unscathed, but there might be the odd club that have to take a look at themselves. And I get your point, Joel, but 4,000 fans, empty stadiums, all the rest of it, as painful as it'd be, if that's what happens, that's what happens. And don't get me wrong, I would be livid if that was my club, because as Steph says, it's about history, it's about everything else. But I think what we're starting to see now is the realisation at the top of the game that without radical change, our sport is in big trouble.
Yeah, I think the one thing that the move to Super League in '95 did was reaffirm the history and the culture of clubs, because there were lots of talk of Wakefield, Castleford merging, Halifax merging, with Featherstone. There were talks of Warrington and Widnes merging. And if one good thing came out of that, it was the fact that the fans fought for the clubs.
Yeah.
And they fought hard and they won at the end of the day. And fan power won that. And I think, I still believe that would be the case now, that if you turn around and say Salford, Leigh and whoever are going to merge for Manchester, I still think the fans would have some say in that. And I'd like to think at the end of the day, the fans would win again. Because at the end of the day, they're the lifeblood of this sport.
Yeah.
And if they walk away from it, it doesn't matter what you call your club. If you've not got the fan base, it fails.
I think the other thing I'd want to mention as well is you said before, Reggie, about the NRL being a national sport in Australia. It's not a national sport. It's played across 2 states.
Well, yeah, but
which is exactly the same as the M62 corridor, with probably the same population of people. So this expansion thing. We've got a great expansion club in Catalan, and I totally get the London did a great job last time, not on the field, but in terms of great stadium, grow their attendance. They were getting 5,000 on average, which some of the other Super League clubs will be looking at going, and there is potential in London as well. But these are the ones that I would potentially look at London and Toulouse to bring in and make it a 14-team comp, and then stick with the grading system that we've got, which I think's great in terms of seeing a snapshot of where clubs are at in terms of the finances and all that kind of thing. And then if we can go to 15, if Bradford start to do well, brilliant. They can come in. We want to get to this same as the NRL, where they've got 17 clubs. So that's what they should be looking to replicate, their successes over there, not reduce it, because all that's going to do is, like Phil said earlier on, dilute the pool, and everyone else will just be not interested.
Absolutely.
I think, look, I think this is going to be, and we haven't really spoke about it, so I thought, why not tonight? We haven't really spoken about it.
I mean, going back to the point Steph makes, I mean, NRL, it's one of the 3 national sports with union and cricket.
That was an interruption, just in case you were.
Aussie rules is the biggest, mate.
Well, because that's played everywhere,
yeah.
But we it's not got a massive. Sorry, Joel, but it's not got a massive fan base in other places around the world. Aussie rules, has it?
No. And look, the other thing as well is what you've got to look at here. And again, this is something that I know Derek has been over to the States, and of course we've been into Vegas and the rest of it. Look at what the NFL did. They moved the Raiders franchise to Las Vegas. Yeah. Ground's full. The ground's full. If the product's big enough, you'll get an audience. And the problem with rugby league is we haven't got a big enough audience. The interest isn't there. We grow the interest, you'll fill the ground anywhere. And I think that's for me. There's some big moments coming. But what we've all got to do is remember, sometimes you've got to ask yourself the question: is your club bigger than the game? And I don't think any club is. We need the game to survive. It's the best sport on this world. Our game is so good. It's been mismanaged in this country, and if the NRL can, put life into it, then that's something that we need to consider. In answer to Dawn's question, that's exactly why Gary Everington has gone to London. There's no doubt about it. Joel,
Joel,
come in, mate.
Yeah, it's just something that's come to me now from what you all talking. Is instead of punishing the clubs that are struggling, really struggling, which, let's face it, if we go down to 10 teams, that's exactly what it is. It's punishing the lower clubs, or so-called lower clubs. How about the NRL clearly have a formula that works for them? I know it's their national sport, but let's park that idea aside just for a moment. How about this? Why don't they look at each club and see where every club is struggling and help them to get around to being better in that area? For example, let's look at Huddersfield as an example with attendance, because it's a good example. What can we do to help you gain more fans? All right. If we can't get more fans, what kind of stadium can we produce to make the quality of the game better? So I know that Huddersfield, we are looking at getting a stadium for ourselves that are more for our capacity, but where can we help? So, like, one thing that Huddersfield are very good at is the social media. It's not as good as some clubs, but the progression of it has been the highest percentage. Then you look at other clubs they might have a problem with attendance, but they may have a problem with the financial side of things. What can you do to help them with their financials? And then what you're doing is you're growing the sport within the club, and you're not having to change how things are. You're just growing what you've got. Because then you look at teams like Wigan and Leeds who do get good attendances. Right, okay, they've not got that many issues other than the spending power. What about how can we grow it so your stadium has to become even bigger and get more people with bums on seats? Because as we know, the English, the chants, the admiration for the club, the love they have for the sport, it's the best in the world. There is no anywhere in the world that can make an atmosphere like the English let's be honest. Let's be proud of what we can do. And these NRL guys, instead of punishing, they need to help us and see where we need that improvement.
I don't think it's punishing, mate. None of this is about punishing for me. This is about growing, and I think
it's how I see it though. As a struggling club,
I appreciate that's the emotion, but if you take a step out of it, this isn't about punishing. This is about growth. This is about trying to do what's best for the sport. But I get how somebody like yourself, who's been there through thick and thin with Huddersfield, is feeling. I get that, and I will be as filthy as you are. But I do think this isn't about punishment. This is about genuine growth for our sport. And I think for me, the biggest part of this, and Martin Sadler mentioned it, the biggest part of this is that the CEOs and the club's voice needs to be diluted. That has been so harmful to our game. You cannot have the tail wagging the dog. You cannot have that. And I'm just hoping that the NRL come in really strong and say, we're taking this forward and you're going to fall into line. And by falling into line, we're going to make you millions. And people need to, because they're doing it in Australia. And I'll tell you what, they'll do a far better job than IMG as well. Right, Let me just change tack on this because I'm very mindful of the time. Great debate, boys. Catalans Dragons coming under scrutiny. Kick out of Super League, go and do your own thing over in France. Greg, your thoughts on Catalan as do they go or do they stay? What's your view?
It's a difficult one, and I'm really on the fence with this one. Catalan have brought a lot to the competition. I know lots of people love going over to Catalan. That one of the first fixtures they look at when the fixtures are released is when have we got Catalan. And I'm reading a lot on social media that we inject a lot we inject a lot into the Catalan economy, and that isn't reciprocated. And that seems to be the common theme that's coming through on social media at the minute. Now I know probably Steph will disagree and probably Joe will disagree, but I'm really on the fence with this one. Look, my hands are going again. I can see both sides of the argument, and that we contribute a lot to that Catalan economy. It's the Frenchman coming out of me. And a lot of people are asking that question. What do Catalan fans do in reciprocation to inject into the economies of all those Super League teams? Because there's a handful of fans come over that teams and officials are now having to pay to go over there to play. They've not got a Sky deal, which again reduces the money that comes into the game. So I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I'd love to hear what the other guys say, because I know Steph in particular, I mean, you're a big fan of Catalan. I like what they bring to the game. I love the semi-final, and sorry to bring this up, the semi-final where they beat Saints at Bolton. The atmosphere was second to none. When they beat, again, Saints, and I'm sorry, Saints fans, but when they beat Saints at Magic Weekend and scored 3 tries in the last 7 minutes to draw level and then got the golden point to win it, the atmosphere was fantastic. A lot of neutral fans like what Catalan bring, but I've seen the other argument on the other side of the fence that what we take to Catalan isn't returned to our game in this country, and I'm just interested to see what the other guys' takes are on that.
Steph?
I would look at a lot of other Super League clubs, Reggie, and say, what do they bring to you?
Oh, yeah.
Not just Catalan. There's plenty of games at the LSV where I thought, good grief, is that all you brought? And the way I do, you should do a good look at OKR. That's what I'll say. Sell it to your own fans first before you start moaning about away fans not coming.
Yeah, Steph, I was just
Yeah, no, I'm just countering the argument you're making. What Catalan have brought is a 10,000 average. They're producing some brilliant players that are coming through and gracing Super League. They're not drawing really from British clubs. Who they got there? The British at the moment, Makinson, Ollie Partington. So they're producing their own players. They're expanding the stadium. And the amount of money that British tourists spend over there is irrelevant. That's not going to Catalan. That's going to the hotels that are over there or whatever. So for me, a lot of clubs maybe need to look in the mirror when criticising Catalan and go, what should we be doing better? Relying on away support.
Hey, this is a great debate, and it's tonight. Outstanding stuff. Joel?
For me, it comes down to sustainability. How long can they sustain paying for everything that they have to pay for the clubs to come over and everything that's included? Because let's be honest, we might have an idea about the costings, but we really don't know the true costings of what it costs the club. Are they building something that's going to be enough for them to be financially stable, to make the money, and also cover the massive overhead costs? Because if we're being honest, their overhead costs, because of what they've got to do, surely it's going to be far out more than any other club in the league. Surely. I know when Catalan first came into the league, I was like, what are you doing? It's an English league. But then I warmed to it, and I love having Catalan now, and I think it's become a staple of British rugby league, a French team being in there. And it's not like they've come in and just rode the wave. They've been the ones that have been there, within the top six many times.
Okay.
The more recent performances haven't been that great, but they've been good so far. But for me, it has to be more the sustainability side. I know they don't bring many people. I saw 2 the other day, but hey, I can't talk. We don't bring anybody to ours hardly. So, but for what they do for the league, I think is great.
I mean, I have to have a giggle here. Yeah, I'm going to give him a bit of notoriety. Jake, mate, you've got to be better than that on Super League Raw. That's nonsense. Apart from KR, Warrington, St Helens and Wigan, who travels well. FC, Leigh. I think there's a bit of fishing there. Bit of fishing. Come on, Jake. I've got to be better.
Whole broad's a great crowd.
Great crowd on time. And that was because it was a Saturday.
Yes.
The whole travelled. Who'd have thought that? You do a Warrington, you do a Yorkshire Lancashire game on a Saturday, and the away fans travel. Who'd have thought that? Unbelievable. Coming back to a point that Sir Joel's just made. Here we go, boys. Catalans Dragons the last 11 years. Let's look at it. Okay. They had a purple patch 2020 to 2023. Apart from that, they have been, well, at the moment counting this year, 6 times outside the top 6. Now, people will say a lot of teams have been outside the top 6 for 6 seasons. But here's going back the point to Reggie's point. Had a Bradford Bulls have the same investment put into them that Catalan has had over the last 11 years, where would Bradford be today? Where would any other team be today? And you might be shaking your head there, stuff about, at the end of the day, when you're out of Super League, you're not getting a lot of cash.
No, but also that's on the clubs who've not run it well.
I'm not disputing that. But then, like yourself, like Wakefield, like KR, they have managed it and they brought it through. What I'm saying here is there's this. Catalan I like Catalan. I think they've had some great times in Super League. They won the Challenge Cup, obviously, in 2018. I get that, but for me, you look at it, and I understand why the debate is happening, to Greg's point. We put a lot of money into the French economy. Catalan put nothing into the British economy. Catalan put nothing. They don't bring the fans.
Irrelevant.
No, hang on. It is relevant.
Why?
It is relevant because it is. Because at the end of the day, mate, it's like everything, isn't it? If you want to make a country poorer, let the money go out of it.
Yeah, but that's not affecting rugby league.
Well, but the point is, if that same amount of investment goes into
1.2 million of central funding that you get from Sky.
No. Yeah, but it's not just been 1.2 over 11 years, has it? That's
1.2 every year, yeah.
Right, but it was more than that 4 or 5 years ago. So this is an 11-year period. So what my point to you is, right, is because of course Leigh were out of it for a while, KR were out for it for a while. Had they have had the security that Catalan has had over that period of time, if they'd have had the investment, would we still have as competitive a comp? What I'm getting at here is competitiveness. Without Catalan, would we be less competitive as a competition? Because the players that you're talking about, the Makinsons that have gone over there, the English lads, they found a club over here. The best of French talent, if it is genuinely there, the likes of Bousquet probably gets, Ben Garcia, there's certain players that would have found their way into the British League.
Yeah.
If they're that good enough. So as a competition, Catalan being there, would it be weaker as a competition if they weren't there?
If they weren't there, no, we'd find, the players, like you say, would rightly go into, if they wanted to play rugby league at the top level, would go to a British club. The point I'm making is the central funding would not have made a difference. Everyone says, "Oh, we put on all this money into Catalan." That's not the Bernard. Is it Noash? They has pumped millions into Catalan to keep them going. The 1.2 million to Bradford wouldn't have been a drop in the ocean, mate. The direct is the club's been run really badly.
Get that. Bad example. But the point being is as we've just said, the competition won't be weaker. We'd find a way. We'd find a way. Yeah. So, for example, had Bradford had better quality of players playing from over the last 11 years, would that have influenced crowds? Possibly. It's all ifs and buts. Yeah. They've not been in Super League, so they haven't had the better players. London last year, look at London. Let's take London as an example. We kicked London out. Look at the progress they made in one season, and we just basically left them out. Yeah. Had they been able to go again this year and the year after, where could they have got to?
Well, look at Salford, who've had the benefit of central funding, and look at where they're at.
Get that, but the point is, again, that's about ownership, and but again, what we've kicked ourselves in the what's here, because London, for me, looked a viable club last year.
Absolutely,
yeah, 100% with a stadium,
right investor, everything, and the Rugby Football League went jog on, and that's what I mean about. We need to be really careful. We'll probably come back to this. I didn't expect it to be as long. But it's a cracking chat. We might have to do extra time tonight. We're miles behind. Right, okay. Let's take a little breath, because I think we've heard a breath. For those of you who are watching that live in Warrington especially, because there's no excuse for it. Warrington, Leigh, Wigan. They won the quiz last month. Wigan, St. Helens, surrounding area, Widnes. There's only one place to be tomorrow night. Let's see it. So there you go. As Andy and Emma found out last month, it's well worth the commute. They had a great night with us in the Bluebell, and they ended up walking away with their tickets for the Warrington Wigan game later in the season. The tickets will be for your game, also meal vouchers, etc. Free to enter. Get yourselves down there tomorrow night. We need your support. Now, you might be thinking, thought it was a rugby league quiz. We've got to attract a lot of people. So all the general knowledge questions, there will be some sort of link to rugby league, albeit it might not be obvious. Greg knows. I can put a question. I can put a question together. So don't worry about that. There's still going to be a rugby league theme to everything that we do, but it's cleverly done. So look, Warrington, if you live in Warrington, get yourselves over there tomorrow. You're going to need a fully charged smartphone to play the quiz. Don't come with your 10% battery, because I'd hate you to lose because you ran out of battery. You need to come with a fully charged smart device. Get yourself down to the Bluebell, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Messages will be going out to our members who live further afield. But I have to say, those who live in Warrington, there's no excuse, and the surrounding area, you've got to get yourselves there. It's a great night, great banter, great laugh. we really would love to see you there. Whew, what a night this is turning into, gentlemen.
I know. And I've just been compared to Henry VIII.
You've been compared to Henry VIII, mate. There we go. Lord, my Lord.
Alex Sharp, that.
Wow, unbelievable.
Normally it's me that gets that. I was going to ask where you got my picture from.
Oh, well, Mark Hill has said I look like Henry VIII.
Well, I mean, he had 6 wives. He had pulling power, sir. Anyway, let's. He also knocked off a fine head, by all accounts. But anyway, that's by the by. Let's, by popular demand, it's back.
Give your head a wobble.
Yes, it's time for Give Your Head A Wobble. And we're starting straight away with Graham Greaves. You couldn't write it, could you? He can't understand why Catalans Dragons bring no support to games in the UK. It's called the English Channel, Graham. That's what it's called. It's called English Channel, and a lot of cost coming over to the UK. The best part of 18 times a season, however many it will be. That was on Super League Facebook. Anyway, there you go. We get off to a good start. Anyway, let's go to Leigh now. Of course, it's been announced today that Big Tom Amon is back in Super League. Louise Barnes, you're better than this, Louise. We don't need him anyway. Oh, Louise, really? We have new players now? Really? Mate, you haven't got, other than, I mean, don't get me wrong, Robbie Mulhern is a great prop, but even Rob's not Tom Amon. You need Tom Amon. You really do. But I respect why Leigh haven't got Tom Amon. But come on, call it out straight, Louise. You know,
we need to find the next Tom Amon.
Yes, you need Tom Amon. You can't come out and say we don't need him. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Right, where are we going to go next? Let's go to let's dip into Warrington. Let's give a big shout out to Keam Durrington, who supports Warrington, and he says, "I want my money back." Keam,
fair enough.
He didn't want his money back after the St. Helens quarter-final, did he? That's about being a supporter, son. We were well beaten. Move on. Support your side. Disgraceful. Anyway, now then, KR. Let's go. You got to go to KR. Oh, okay. They were livid. They were filthy. KR were filthy. They were filthy. But Andy Wilkinson. Andy. Really? Oh, and by the way, happy birthday to Matt P. Matt P's birthday today. But he's gone in. Here we go. Are you ready? Pete's face said it all. Our starting 17 beats theirs easy. Not beaten for 4 games. He knows this. Both start back rows were out. No, Batchelor was out. Tangano and Adley started in your second row. And main half back 2. Yeah, okay, I get that. But no Thompson for no Havard for Wigan. You know, let's balance this up a little bit. Pete's face said it all. Our starting 17 beats theirs easy. Not beaten for 4 games. Oh, dearie me. You've got to start beating them before you're coming out with such tripe. Dearie me. Anyway, let's move on. Where are we going to do next? Oh, we are Dave Hartley. I don't know why I put an F in his middle of his name. But anyway, Dave Hartley.
It's Hartley.
Yeah, Castleford Tigers fan. He said he knew it was going to be a long night when he saw Chris Kendall having a laugh and a joke and shaking hands with Leigh fans. I mean, you've got bigger problems than that, mate. I really do.
That was the same as the guy who, before the 2019 Cup final, said he knew Warrington were going to win when he saw Leigh Breers shaking Hicks's hand before kickoff. They go to everybody and chat with them.
Mate, you couldn't write it. Right, I'm going to go back to Warrington. Everything's free. You know, we're not biased here on Super League Raw. I always say this. Stephen Thomas. Stephen, mate, come on. I couldn't believe what I was reading when this one came up on my phone. Here we go. Williams is never excellent. He is not good. Warrington wouldn't have scored a point on Saturday if it weren't for George Williams. George Williams single-handedly dragged Warrington back into that game. Deary me, really? Can you believe that?
You have to read that. Williams is never excellent.
Ever excellent. No.
He can sometimes dip a little.
But can't every player?
But he's never. There are some games where he's better than excellent.
Anyway. He's never excellent. He's not good. So that means he can be bad and poor.
Well, I say,
Did well for getting England 6 job, hasn't he?
it is madness. It is madness. And anyway, here we go. Last, but by no means least, Joel gave an excellent tribute to JWH. But on hearing the news that Mr. Hargreaves was hanging up his boots for good, Beverly Goldsworthy of Leeds Rhino said, "Such a legend, I've never heard of him."
Wow.
Absolute comedy gold.
What a woman.
It's brilliant. It's one of the best parts. I love this part of the
We
show.
get Beverly on as a guest.
Oh, mate. Hey, Beverly can come on. Look, it's all in jest. We know, look, this isn't about the teams. This is about keyboard warrioring. This is about people, we know that 99% who don't. And do you know what, really? I've got to say this, right? For you people out there who have infiltrated other clubs' Facebook pages just to go and cause mayhem, take a look in the river and give your head a wobble. I mean, there was the amount of feeds that I read this week where your team have just won a great win. And rather than just go out and have a bottle of champagne and, enjoy it and bask in the glory on your own sites with your own fans, no, what we'll do is we'll go on to the team we beat and just talk nonsense. Get a life, will you? Dear God, what are you doing?
Goading opposing fans is what Wendy Ball fans do, not what rugby league fans do.
Lack of class. Just a lack of class, that's all I'm saying.
So, Greg Roach, I have got an ankle tag. It's a Pandora, sir.
Oh, it's Greg Roach here. Oh, Roachy, mate, you've come just at the right time. Mr. Roach, in your honour, because you mentioned getting a baseball cap for Magic Weekend, we've done a special offer for members with the promo code MAGIC where you can have the T-shirt and the cap for 50 notes, mate. Just because you said that you wanted the caps this year. And, of course, we've got the T-shirts as well. And, I love you, Greg. I said to Reggie...
Not me, Greg.
Oh, I said to Reggie, because Reggie likes a bit of team of the week. What you're about to see, I think, is one of the best ever. This is quite. I mean, there's some lines in here.
This is a build up, mate.
I'm good for it. I'm good for it. There's some belt. If you like team of the week, if you like a bit of linguistic skill, then you really are about to get some out the very, very top drawer. Some of it is pretty close to the wood. And what I would also say as well is, there's a certain winger that's at number 2. Those who are in the clubs in the 90s, you know where I'm coming from. Here's Team of the Week is sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. With an average turnaround time of 3 weeks, if you want your house sold quickly, then contact Stefan today on 01942 356 577. Quote Super League Raw for 33% off. It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 7 with the Good Estate Agent for 2025. Here we go again. At a fullback, it's Jake Fit of the Wigan Warriors. There are some things that money just can't buy. For everything else, there's Masterfield. He was on hand to finish the transaction, leaving Hull KR to pick up the tab of defeat. At 2 and on debut is Leo de Relator. No advert here, folks, just one for the 90s clubbing crowd, as I proudly declare Madame Monsieur le Disc Jockey Sash et le Delator, as we can't wait for his encore revoir. At number 3 is Zach Eckersley, better than Wardle by a quality streak versus KR. His breakaway try was as long as a chocolate toffee finger, leaving the Robins feeling like green with envy triangles on the night as the champions provided a reality check. At 4, I'm back for Hull FC with a vengeance is Davy Litton. Not since Napoleon Gate crashed the Tango advert have we seen a slap in the face as telling us this one. Litton was on hand to score 2 vital tries to ensure the black and whites prevailed at the HJ. At 5 and on the wing, returning for the Leigh Leopards, Darnell McIntosh. He might not get quicker than a quick bit fitter, but Darnell is quick enough, showing the Be the Rovers he was the one to trust on the wing against the Tigers. At 6 is Bevan French. Bevan is a modern day Nokia 3610. Talk about connecting people without interference. His lines and methods of evasion were simply 5G and then some.
At 7, it's St Helens' George Whitby on debut, with Johnny Lomax having a break and maybe a Kit Kat at home. Whitby was like a Rice Krispie, snap, crackling and popping trinity all around the Tony Wicket Stadium in a defining display. At 8, well, you may as well give him the shirt. It's once again Herman S.A. If the big man was a razor, he would be Gillette, as he's the best a coach can get for the number 8 shirt in Super League. Unlike the Blade, Herman comes with no skin guard for oncoming defenders, putting it simply, no one is safe from cuts and bruises when the Herminator is around. At 9, it's Jared O'Connor of the Leeds Rhinos. Not since Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman have we seen attributes so akin to the role. O'Connor's performance was as smooth as a pair of legs on the other side of Veet. At 10, Sam Walters of the Wigan Warriors was the waffling versatile against the Robin. They couldn't grill him, bake him, fry him or eat him, as it was Sam who was doing the devouring of the KR front row. Best prop on the pitch, waffling versatile. At 11, Frankie Holton of the Leigh Leopards. One man's brought is another man's Hugo Boss, and Frankie bossed the game once more with a defensive display that left the order profound of assured masculinity and a law at the jungle. At 12, and keeping his place week on week, is the Leeds Rhinos' second rower James McDonald. If beans mean times, well, McDonald means business in 2025. Who needs 57 varieties when this one will do for Brad Harper in second row? Quality! And finally at 13, it's St Helens' majestic Morgan Knowles in the form of his life with another performance as smooth as silk and no bumps or clumps. In fact, you could say he this season is a little bit of different gravy. Bisto! This is your team of the week for round number 7.
Yes, there it is, the team of the week. What do you make of that one, Mr. Nixon?
Encore en foi, sir. Encore en foi.
Happy days, Joel. I saw you, mate. You were falling off your chair.
No, I want to know where the ceiling is, Dave, because they just get better and better. It was brilliant. I think the one that really got me the most were SESA, like Gillette, is the best a coach can get.
I like the other side of Veet.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, they were very good. Though they were very good. You've got your hands full for next week. I tell you.
Mate, I told somebody I was working with last night that Jared O'Connor won Julia Roberts. Not since Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman has somebody had the attributes so much akin.
I just can't get Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman out of my head now.
There you go. Greg Zappa, he's giving the kisses. Nicola Burtonwood's loving it as well. Nobody does Team of the Week like Super League Raw. But anyway, let's get more serious. I'm happy with that team. Me and Steph were laughing as part of Round Unpacked when we looked at the official one. I mean, it would appear to be in the official one, you've got to score a try. Ebony Pape over Jared O'Connor. Behave. Unbelievable. There was some real shockers in the official one. It was because they scored tries. Jake Wardle put case in point. Jake Wardle wasn't even man of the match. Should nowhere near a team of the week.
Should be nowhere near man of the match. Jake Wardle.
No, unbelievable. But boys, go on, Greg. Whilst you're talking over to you, happy with that one, mate?
Oh, delighted. Yeah. Bevan French getting back to his best. He's had a few. Since Vegas, he's not been himself, I don't think, but he's getting back to his best. And Morgan Knowles, you know, we've not as much criticised Morgan Knowles as kind of wondered why he got so many compliments in seasons past. I think he's actually now coming into his own, and he's actually fulfilling his potential, Morgan Knowles. I really do. You know, he's going to Oz next year. If he plays like this in Australia next season, I mean, wow, he's going to take it by storm.
Yeah, absolutely. Steph, happy with that, mate? A couple of your boys in there?
Yeah, great. And ones that have had injuries as well. So great to see Darnell and Frankie from a Leigh point of view. Also, some fringe players getting in, which is fantastic to see in Eckersley and Walters for Wigan. I thought were both outstanding against, you know, a side we all say is one of the best, if not the best, in the comp in KR. So great to see those boys in there. And I'd echo what Reggie said on Knowles. I think he's been right up there with the best 13s in the comp, up there with Asiata. And McDonald for Leeds had a fantastic game, and it wasn't just the tries he scores. It was the instinct and him and Connor are forming a great partnership, aren't they? A bit like Lamb O'Donnell. I'll use a Leigh reference because obviously I'm a Leigh fan. But no, brilliant from him, and 4 tries is outstanding for any second rower.
And now you've come down off the ceiling, Joel. Your thoughts?
Yeah, do you know, I was really happy for young George. I think it's great that you can make an impact and clearly get the rewards for your efforts. It'll be interesting to see how he goes on in the years to come. Could be another Johnny Lomax in the making. You then look at Sam Walters. I'm really pleased for Sam because he was doing really well when he was at Leeds, and we all thought, man, he's a bit of a player, this lad, and then goes to Wigan, and you think, he's going to have to be a bit patient here. And he was, and he didn't get played for a while, but look at him now. He's getting some good regular game time, and really pleased for him.
Yeah, I mean, Walters was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And, on debut, Derelator for Catalan. For those who've not watched, if the members who have not watched Round Unpack yet, not only did he score his try, which he took well, and of course got a nice knee for his efforts as well. Thought Hewitt was very lucky on that, Joel, by the way. 8 tackle busts from the kid, 18 carries, 134 metres, 2 clean breaks, 1 offload on debut. The lad didn't put a foot wrong. Very, very impressive debut from Leo Derelator. Outstanding effort from him. And Spiro Bichet played well as well.
They put Miski in at the.
Don't go there.
I mean, going back to what Joel said about Walters, I think he's flattered to deceive since he left Leeds. He had an injury. He's come back from injury. He's flattered to deceive, and I think he's actually coming into his own again. Like Morgan knows, he's actually playing really, really well at the moment, which is good to see.
Right. Okay. Greg Roach in the chat. If you have time at the end of the show tonight, guys, Magic Weekend, Saturday or Sunday, the better day. And will Steph buy a beer for Super League War members who compliment his hoodies? That's for Steph to answer, not me. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. I think both days have got great games. But like I say, we'll get into Magic when we get to Magic. What we're going to do now, though, we've got to do it. Here we go.
Ooh, pass me a cucumber sandwich.
Yeah, she saw me there doing a little jig at the bottom of the screen. Journalists or buffet raiders, you decide, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Let's get into it.
Up, Dave. Hey, up.
No, mate, I'm not saying you. Mate. Anyway, for the interest of time, no interruptions. Now, let's go into it. Here we go. Right. So, Catalan against Huddersfield. Joel, 1 point Bailey Sivernon. How he got Skyman on the match, I'll never know. Never know in a million years. George Flanagan got 2.
No.
Ollie Parkinson got 3. No issue with that. We move on. This is here we go. Let's go to Warrington. 1 point for George Williams. I get that, and I get that because Williams for Warrington was outstanding.
Yeah.
2 points. Tom Briscoe.
He scored 2 tries.
He scored 2 tries. He had a decent game. Don't be wrong.
That's the rule. Scored 2 points.
That's it. 2 tries, a point to try.
But SASA scored a try as well, so that you've also got.
He dropped it over the line, but hey.
But anyway, on the basis that I've said George Williams has got a point, and Tom Briscoe has got 2. Who do you think got 3 based on what your eyes saw?
Oh, I wouldn't even dare to guess. Go on.
I said Cust.
You're going Cust.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably Cust. Yeah.
You think Cust? Maybe SASA?
Yeah.
David Lynn.
SASA, really.
David Lynn
had a good game.
They had a good game. We had John Asiata in Team of the Week.
Well, Asiata was outstanding.
Yeah. Aiden Caesar. Oh, you just couldn't write it.
Caesar didn't do anything. The whole play cussed into it because they knew Warrington to target Caesar.
Here we go. He tackled 13 times and missed 4. Yeah, he didn't do a single bust. He did 1 attacking kick all game. He carried it 8 times for 9 meters. You couldn't write this, right? Absolutely shocking. Shocking. He weren't in the top 6 All FC players on the day.
That's just because he's been good. He's been good all season's been outstanding. We've all raved about it.
One of their better
but this game, he was non-existent.
Non-existent.
Will Price had a better game. Will Price was brilliant. Will Price had a better game.
He's asking me, am I bitter about the SSA try? You know what, Craig? No, I'm not. Apart from the forward pass, the obstruction, the fact he dropped it, not bitter at all, mate. Not bitter at all.
Anyway,
what was the quote with that? Like the thingy, I'm not bitter.
If
John Smith, was it?
Bodies.
Bodies.
Yeah. Tony Pennington's laughing. By all accounts, he scored 9 points in the fantasy league. Teaser. Oh dear God. Anyway, right. Let's go to Castleford against Leigh. Tough one. This. It was a bit of a damp squid, really. But they've gone 1 for Robbie Mulhern. He had a good break in the game. He was solid. 2 for Tessie New. 3 for Lachlan Lamb. I'm not seeing it. I think McIntosh. No. I thought McIntosh and Alton had better games. They weren't even in the top 3. Hence, they're in our team in a week.
I didn't even think it was right. I didn't think Lachlan Lamb had that good of a game. He did some he did some good stuff, but he also did some bad stuff as well. So I would have had
a few mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. Shout me out some names. St. Helens against Waker. Who should be in the top 3? Just give me some names. Who guarantees in the top 3?
Morgan Knowles.
Yeah.
Whitby, yes. Wellesby.
Yeah.
Delaney had a good game.
Yeah,
Delaney did have a good game. Do you know that's a good shout? Delaney did have a good game. You're spot on. Here we go. 1 for Josh Rourke.
What did he do?
Here we go. 2 for Curtis Simonon.
Bailey Simonon had a better game.
So there's only one person left that gets 3 points. Whitby got it. Got no issue with that. Where's Morgan Knowles in that top 3?
Yeah.
Where's Morgan Knowles in that top 3?
It makes sense, does it?
It's unbelievable, mate. Right. We now go for Leeds Salford. Jared O'Connor won in our team of the week. Who got 3 points? And actually, no, I sort of get this, actually. 2 for James McDonald and 3 for Connor. I sort of get that. So I'll let that one slide.
Yeah. Connor's. I think Connor's been told just do what you like.
Yeah, and he set up. He set up. He set up well. Did Jakey boy? Yeah. So do you know what? I sort of get that. He had 3 assists. Right, let's go to the Wigan KR game. Right, here we go. 1 point. The man who got in the official team of the week, Abbas Miski.
Oh, wow.
And we're not laughing at the players. We're laughing at
No.
The players, we love the players. The players give us great, we're not laughing at the players. But even Abbas has got to admit, he wasn't one of the top 3 players on that park. He was nowhere
top 10.
No, it's ridiculous. Right, here we go. 2 points. Right, 3 points went to Field. I've got no issue with that. No. 2 points to Sue. To Jesse Sue.
Where's Bevan French? Bevan French was, me and you had a good debate, Dave, in terms of I give it to Field in terms of my man of the match. But you were saying French, and when we analysed, especially in the Round Unpacked, Bevan French was outstanding in this game.
But if you're going to put a forward there, Sam Walters.
Yeah.
By a street.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even close. He was the best prop on the pitch.
It was Walters, French, and Field.
So,
considering Walters is a second rower by trade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Phil Webster's going as far as saying that Thompson was better than Miska because Thompson wasn't on the field, and I know he's saying that in jest. Before he bites. But yeah, I mean, unbelievable.
He's on form.
Except Suhu.
I know it's just unbelievable. I mean, and you know what? I mean, again, if our friends at League Express are watching and they're getting it under the collar, look at yourselves. I'm sorry, but wow, just wow. Those butties. Those sandwiches, those pies, whatever they are.
I think those sandwiches are laced with something.
Well, definitely.
Well, I think we can reform the bet, Steph, onto you score a try, you get a point.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, tries win games. I get that. But, like Wardle, Great try. I mean, if we're going to award a try of the week, it's up there. It's a brilliant piece of
definitely.
individual skill. Incredible individual skill.
No.
Brilliant
Wardle.
try.
But he's not in
Wardle
the top. He wasn't in the top centre this week. He wasn't man of the match in the game. It's just like what? It's like they get players. Greg, you say all the time. They get players in the head, and it's the narrative from the whole.
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
matter.
the narrative. They
The narrative for the whole game, unbelievable, absolutely. So again, we'll keep holding them to account. We'll keep holding to them to account. You wouldn't expect anything less, right? He's back. Here we go.
This is Joel Scholes with your fantasy league update. Let's see who the movers and shakers are for this week.
And here we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, when you're ready, go.
Very good. So we've got Miller with 72 points, Connor with 68, Sidney at 70, and then on the edge there we've got McIntosh with 80 points, good pointage there, and Miskey with 63, and in the halves we've got Williams with 67, Smith with 78, and then we've got Ellis with 76 points, Sirinen with 67 points, and this is a big one. If you've got this, a whopping 104 points for McDonald. So if you've got him in your team, you've done a really good job there. And then we've got SESA, no surprise there, with 69 points. Paul Vaughan with 75 points. And Edwin Pape with 63 points. So if you've had them in your team this week, you've done pretty well. And now we're going to go on to our the podium that we have. So David Moore, who's in third place, unfortunately not a member, so will not be getting the replica shirt, the merchandise, should we say, sorry, the Super League Draw merchandise. But we do have in second place Stuart Scaife, who is getting his one hand on his replica shirt. So hopefully he can keep hold of that. And then looking in pole position for his season ticket for next year is Neil Ormston. So well done so far. I know you've got one under it for now, but let's see if you can keep two on by the end of the season. And then we're going to have a look at our top 10. So we've got, as we know, we've got Neil, Stuart, and David in 1, 2, and 3 respectively. And then in fourth, we've got Steve Richardson with 4990 points. And then Alan Bagley in both 5th and 6th. In 7th, we've got Terry Moon. In 8th, we've got Stephen Broomfield. In 9th, we've got David Windus. And in 10th, we've got Mark Arnell, sorry, my apologies. And the top performer for this week was David Moore, who was in 3rd. So that was a really good week for David. And I think, unless I forgot anything, that is everything.
That is everything. Now, I don't know if David Moore is actually related to Carol Moore, who is a member. So we might need to clear that up. Maybe David's took the reins in terms of the Fantasy League. I don't know. But yeah, David, if that isn't you, obviously we'll have to do checks and balances. But if that is you and you are related to Carol, then I sort of get that. And of course, you are in. But again, you need to let us know. The cut-off point for the Fantasy League is going to be the end of April. You've got to become an annual member in April to get yourself involved in that. So if you're doing well on the Fantasy League and at this moment in time, in whatever group that you're in, you've got a better score than 5,136, you might want to join our Fantasy League and you might want to become an annual member by the end of April because you will be included. But that is the cut-off point. So you've not got long left to get involved with the Fantasy League. Right, okay, boys. Woof, we're going to have to get a wriggle on with this one. It's been a great show tonight. Really enjoyed that debate over Catalan. Really took a bit of time out of us. But hey, it was good fun. And I don't know what Joel's doing there. Ridiculous. Let's have a little move around here. There you go. Let's have a little change. In fact, yeah, there you go. Let's do that. I'm only joking. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get into this little beauty. And here we go, the Prediction League 2025. Greg still leads on 92, but what
I
a
had an
brilliant...
awful week this week.
Well, what a brilliant week for the members. Members, 17 points this week. They are now in second place on 90. So well done to the members who are getting involved on WhatsApp and getting your votes in every week. Of course, round 8 is there at this moment in time. The non-members, they did well as well. 81 points for them. They got 14 this week, as did myself and Earl, who remain on 77 apiece. Bad week for Mr. Sale. You had 2 shockers, Steph. Down now to second bottom, and Joel closing the gap as well, Mr. Sale.
Yeah, it's I'm falling pretty quick there, so. But you know, you go from the top to the bottom that quickly, you can get back up again, can't you? So hopefully, a big improvement from me this week.
Absolutely, sir. They did wonders on that back. They did. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get into the what is the rivals round, and you know what, we've got some really good games to have a quick chat about over the next 20 minutes or so. Starting with the game that kicks us off this Thursday at 8 o'clock at it's at the DIY Kitchens, I believe. Castleford against Wakefield. Big game, this. Is it? Do you know what? I'm doubting myself there. Is this at Bellevue? It is, isn't it? Or is it not?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Well, I'm doubting myself, but I am.
Yeah.
It is at Bellevue. Yeah, outstanding. It's at the DIY Kitchen Stadium against the Castleford Tigers. Big game, massive game. We've all been impressed with Wakey this season. Played some really good stuff. Of course, lost to Saints last time out, as we know. It's going to be an interesting game, this one, for me. Especially, I mean, no Amon. But all of a sudden now, some of those middle units have got to earn the dinner, because Amon's a guaranteed starter. That's just the way that it is, isn't it? So where are we going to start? Let's start with Joel, as it's an all Yorkshire affair. Wakey against Castleford, my friend. Over to you. Your thoughts on this game? Who's going to win it?
Well, it's very interesting, because for those that don't know, I'm surprised if you don't know, that both Wakefield and Castleford are within the Wakefield district. So the question is, who is the better Wakefield side? And I don't want to upset any Castleford fans, so that was a joke. Please don't take offence.
Wanted posters up in Castleford for Joel now, I think.
Absolutely.
At least they didn't call it the derby. The whole brigade have been straight in the chat when they go and carry on.
Yeah, this is as much of a derby as the Hull derby, if we're being honest. So there we go. I've said it. Shots fired. And I'm in Hull this weekend, so if you see me, please do not shoot. So this, you would like to think on the rivals round, you're going to have some really good games, and I'm sure this will be one. Though I don't see it that way. I do see a comprehensive Wakefield win, and it's just squad. You know, Danny Maguire's not got a lot to go by with squads this year. He's really done it tough, and I think where they have won, or they've played, where they've been close with the score lines, they've played pretty well. The effort is certainly there. It's just the squad is just nothing in comparison to what we've got at Wakefield, and I think we're going to see an 18-plusser.
Did he just say we've got at Wakefield? Is Baz Kingston rubbing off on his mate Joel there? Did everybody hear that? We've got at Wakefield. They're both secret closets.
No, that's a Yorkshire saying. That's what you say.
Is that what it is? All right, fair enough. So you're going 18 plus to the mighty Trin. Right, Steph, your thoughts, mate?
Well, obviously I've seen these two teams up close and personal the last couple of weeks. For me, Max Jewett, I think, has come back, hasn't he? For this one, he's in the squad.
He was back in the squad for the last game that he went again with Josh Evolt.
But I think he target. Given that, I mean, their social media is ace, by the way. Wakefield. If any club wants to learn a lesson in social media, go and look at what Wakefield are doing. But I think he's targeted this game to come back. That's going to be a big factor for them. Casa brought in a couple of players, haven't they, on loan from? Is it who they brought in? 2 props, isn't it? Is that right?
If you say so.
They brought 2 props on loan. They definitely have. I've seen it.
Yeah, they have brought two players in. Yeah,
the French lad. Is it the French lad? They brought him in.
I was going to say Lazone.
I've been sleeping all morning, so I don't know. Go on.
We should know this, shouldn't we? But anyway, they have. But they're not going to have. I don't think they're going to have enough time to gel as a team. So for me, I think Wakefield will be smarting from that St Helens first half performance. They showed what they can do in that second half against St Helens.
Yeah, two players. I've got the two players they brought. Is they've got Hugo Salabio,
that's it,
coming from FC, and Jordan Desiree.
Desiree, not Lazoni. Desiree.
Yeah.
So two good additions then.
Yeah, so I was like half right there in terms of I knew they brought someone, I just knew who they were. But I just think in terms of those being able to come into the squad and have an impact and be able to, I just think they're going to be a bit disorganised, and you can't be disorganised against what we've seen from Wakefield so far. And I think we're going to see the Wakefield of the second half of the Saints' performance in this one. I think they're going to get the first home win of the season. And I'm with Joel. I'm going 18 plus Wakefield.
18 plus Wakey. Wow. Right, before we bring you in, Mr. Nixon, let's have a quick look at what is in the chat. Reference this game. Let's have a quick look. Right, we've got, here we go. Yeah, a lot of love for Wakey. Not really surprised by that, to be fair. We've got Phil Webster, Wakey 18 plus, 9-17, says Ryan Berring, grade 4th, 9-17 to Wakey. Paul Boardman, Wakey 20 plus, 9-17, says Nick Burtonwood. Nobody's going, oh, hang on, there you go. Aiden, good lad, Aiden. Aiden Simpson going with his club, Cass 1 to 8 now. And I can see why you get a bit optimistic, because that's a much better looking pack with certainly Desiree in it. I mean, he's a big unit, and I think they've got to play Okuro. They've got to play him.
We've been calling that. I mean, what we've got to recognise here is, and we call for it, Dave, in terms of the backs at Cass are good enough. Yeah, you just need to bolster the. I know they've got those two and Amon, coming in, and maybe not for this game with Amon, but going forward. Cass are going to be a better side, in a few weeks' time. They're going to be a lot better for those players they brought in.
And that's the point. We need a couple of weeks.
Yeah, all bets are off, Greg, in terms of Danny Maggs now, because with those additions, especially Tom Amon as well coming in as well, more pressure will come his way, because the more personnel he's got, the more he will be looked at if things aren't produced on the field. So, with good additions comes added pressure, especially where you are with Danny. Your thoughts on this, mate?
My thoughts on this one, I think the two new signings will probably bolster the pack, but maybe not had enough time to bed in. Desiree had some great hits in the 90s. I think that Wakefield.
Greg, you've got to be more serious than that, mate. You've got to be bolder. You've got to be stronger. Oh, mate, that is out. Mate, that's out the top. That should have been a quiz question tomorrow. That's a good line. Carry on, sir. Carry on.
Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Wakefield 9-17.
Oh, listen to what your father said. Anyway, moving on. Outstanding. Members, non-members, and myself all going Wakey 9-17. Right, there we go. Let's get into. Oh, well, actually, no, we'll get that. We're doing them in chronological order. First up, Hull FC taking on Hull KR at the MKM Stadium. Oh, it's first against second. This is a tasty little one, isn't it? Oh, what a game this one's going to be. Steph, will start with you this time. Oof. Suddenly expectation, I would say. Hull FC need to deliver a much improved performance against KR this time around than they did in the quarters, mate.
Yeah, and given league position and performances so far and the way Hull FC were against Warrington, this should be a cracker. But we said that against the Challenge Cup and it was a damn squid. Yeah. That's my only concern. And it's going to be another... Is a FC this one again?
FC.
Yeah. So it's going to be another bumper crowd. I don't know how many of the KR fans they let it in for this one, but no, it should be a belter, and it's great. We love the Good Friday fixtures, don't we, and things, because they do actually make them one after each. I think there's 3 games, isn't there, on Friday?
There is indeed.
So we can actually enjoy and watch all of them. I went really close last time. I think KR 9-17.
9-17 KR. I've not heard anything on Mikey Lewis yet. Has anybody else this far out? I'm not heard anything.
He said himself. He said in his interview he was hoping he was going to be back for it. So
it's how fit he is as well, isn't it?
That's might be back is what I've heard.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Greg, go on, mate. Over to you. Your thoughts?
I just hope the stadium's as full as it was for that cup game, because that was magnificent to see. That really was brilliant to see. Hull blew Warrington away first 20, 25 minutes of that game on Saturday. Let's hope they have those two linesmen who can't see a ball go between the posts. No, I'm not bitter.
They've actually put
AR
100 foot
AR
posts in.
17.
They put bigger posts in at the NKM.
I think it was because Johnny Asiata was leaning on the post just as he kicked it. No, I'm going KR 9-17.
9-17 KR, right. Before we go to Joel, let's take a look. Thomas Bevan, Rovers 1-8. Craig Forth, FC 1-8. Jake, Andy, Laugh Out Loud, KR 9-17. Andy Bevan, KR 1-8. Ryan Bevan, KR 9-17. Aiden's going KR 9-17. A drop goal, FC, says Dawn Baker. Nicola Burtonwood, KR 9-17, as was Phil Webster. Carl Shaw's gone FC 1-8. Freddie McGilvery, he's put MR 90-17. Don't know what that is. KR. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, Fraser Howard 1-8. Freddie, he's there. Yeah, outstanding stuff. Joel, how do you see it?
I see it much closer. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in both sides of Hull this weekend, but I'm going to be in the depths of East Hull more. So let's hope that I don't get too many pelters, because tonight I've been really getting it in the chat. I get it normally every week anyway, so I'm used to it, but I'm getting some extra ones this week. I'm seeing it KR 1-8. Because I have seen enough from FC to see that they can trouble absolutely anybody on the day, and they've been playing some really good rugby. Being the derby, I know there's always the hype about the derby that happens, but I just think that the two sides are just quality teams, and it's going to be really exciting to watch. This one in particular will be the favourite derby, though I won't be able to watch it because I'll be working. But yeah, it's going to be really good, and I'm looking forward to coming down and hopefully seeing a few of you.
Yeah, well, let's hope you do. Right, look, the members have gone KR 1-8. The non-members have gone KR 9-17. I'm going FC 1-8.
Wow.
I'm going FC 1-8. And I think an extra week with Price at fullback. And we've got to remember that first game, they brought Price in, it upset the apple cart. There was no K Cust. Bit of a different looking FC going into this next one. I just think at the moment, and how much does that Wigan defeat hurt? I mean, it's going to show a lot about KR. Can they bounce back here and quickly? But they're coming up against a team that they have to respect. And I think that extra week with Price at fullback, Cust back as well. We know in the forwards, they've got more than enough to bother KR. As everybody else has gone, KR. Go and show a bit of love to our black and white supporters. I'm gonna go for one. I'm gonna see how we do. Right, let's get into this one. Another brilliant game. The derby, of course. Tellings at Wigan at the Brick Community Stadium. Should be an absolute barnstormer. Everybody loves this game. I don't care who you are. It's going to be a cracking game of rugby league. Saints, we know, have got big issues in their centre positions going into this one. Robertson, unlikely to feature in the game. That's a big blow for them. He's been playing some great rugby league. Probably have to start with two centres, or maybe they'll put Sambo on there and move that back line around a little bit. Will Saylor stay at fullback? Will Wellsby stay in the halves? Will Whitby stay in the halves? Lots of questions for Wellens. No matter what decision he makes, if they lose, he made the wrong one. And if I was Paul, I'd turn off his social media on Friday afternoon, because he is in a no-win situation here if they lose, because anything he does, they're going to, some part of the Saints brigade will give him pelters. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Wigan, though, come into this game in fine fettle. Great win against KR. Right, Greg, you're off and running. Wigan Saints.
Yeah, this is one of the most unpredictable games you can have, because they go at it hammer and tongue with each other. No matter who's playing well or who isn't playing well, when it comes to Wigan Saints, they both raise their games. I just think that, I know Saints aren't playing that well at this moment in time. Not so much playing well, but got players missing and misfiring at times.
Just be Wayfield.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, wasn't playing well was maybe a wrong phrase. Not quite there, is what I'm saying. Wigan 9-17.
9-17. To the meat and potatoes. Marvellous stuff. Joel, are you going with the pies? Oh,
sorry, there was just a bit. No, sorry, I'm back. No, I just had to mute it a second. I'm going to go Wigan.
Yeah,
but only 1-8. Yeah, I think 2 reasons. I think Saints are going to be up for it. They're going to put in a good effort, especially after seeing a couple of the players getting in the team of the week this week. I think they're going to step up, and I need to get some points. So I'm hoping that 1-8 might do it for me.
Wigan 1-8. Right, let's go in the chat before we go to Mr. Sale. Thomas Bevan, Wigan 9-17. St. Helens, Ryan Bevan, 1-8. That's interesting. A bit of love for Saints there. Freddie McGilvey, 1-8. Wigan. I'm not even going to go anywhere near the Wigan Brigade. It's obvious where they've gone, is what I would say. Nicola Burtonwood, Leigh fan, of course, 9-17. She's gone the way of Wigan as well. Yeah. Okie dokie. Can you see a win for Saints in this, Steph?
Well, I think first and foremost, what we need to say is, we were talking about what's the proper derby, which one's sold out. and we'll also say 2 towns versus a city. So,
oh, mate. I tell you what, mate, you better not go all the way this year. Go on, carry on.
My hope ding you there. No, just joking to my Hull FC fans there and Hull KR fans. No, it's going to be a great thing. Brilliant that they've sold this one out. It's absolutely fantastic for the sport, and that deserves a mention because we haven't mentioned that. I think it's going to be a really good game. I just think we're going to have too much for Saints in this. And I think it's going to bring out the Wellands 8 Brigade again. My real fear for Saints is, and they are doing it tough again with injuries. I'd have liked seeing Felt playing this one, that kind of thing. But given the way Wigan played against KR, I can't go any other way than a convincing Wigan win, and I'm going to go Wigan 9-17.
Yeah, as have I. I've gone the same way. So's the members. So the non-members have gone Wigan 1-8. Right. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's be quick on this. I'm very mindful. We've got 15 minutes to go. We're still going to get Bet Steph in as well. So we're up against it. That discussion really did take it out of us. Rivals round Friday, 5:30, bringing Good Friday to a close. Leeds Rhinos taking on Huddersfield Giants. We'll come to Joel last. So we'll start with you, Steph. On this one, I know you've just gone, but we'll start with you first. Huddersfield Leeds, thoughts?
I can't see anything other than a Huddersfield convincing win. No. Sorry, Joe. I just thought I'd get your hopes up for a minute there, Paul. No, it's Leeds are playing really well at the moment. Really, really well. I'm loving what Connor's doing. I was really skeptical of the signing of Connor, but I think he's fitting in really nicely into that sixth position at Leeds. I think they're doing a really good job at the moment, and obviously we know how tough Huddersfield are doing it. That goes out to Joel. I just think Leeds are going to be too strong for Huddersfield. I think it could be another bad day at the office. I'm going Leeds 18+.
Greg?
I agree with Steph. I think Jake Connor's been told, do what you want, son. You're a talented player. We'll do the rest. Our players will play to a structure. You just do what you think's right. You trust your instincts. You play well. I think that's a type of coaching that Connor responds to.
Getting Miller back as well is massive.
Yeah, and I think Huddersfield 18. No, Leeds 18+.
Leeds 18+.
Sorry, Joel. A
couple. Jake's gone Huddersfield 1-8. Andy Bevan's gone Huddersfield 1-8. The rest pretty much saying it's going to be Leeds 9-17 or 18+. Your thoughts, Joel?
I appreciate the support of Huddersfield, but unfortunately, it is not happening. We've got even more injuries this week. So, I feel I was worried when Luke Robinson looked over in my direction. I thought I was going to roll my ankle or something. So, Leeds 18+. If I went anything else, I'd be deluded. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Craig Force saying, when's the priest coming to bless Huddersfield to remove the curse, Joel? Rumour had it Max Van Snowdale was seen on the bridge crossing before the last game. Rose from the dead. Did our Max? He was there. There's definitely a curse over the John Smith Stadium at the minute, and nobody's taking any pleasure in that. I want to see a competitive league. I want to see a competitive Huddersfield. It's a real shame. And that said, Leeds 18 plus members have gone Leeds 18 plus. Non-members have gone Leeds 18 plus. Earl will be getting me his, and we'll do that on Captain's Run. Right, now this is a real tasty one. Warrington will travel to the Leigh Leopards Saturday at 1:30. The battle lines will be drawn between the Super League Raw panel for this one. Joel, we'll start with you because you're the neutral. Over to you, sir. How do you see it?
I'll be very quick with this one. I think it's going to be a home advantage, and that being that. Nothing else in it. I think this is very, very well matched, and I think the home advantage is going to make the difference. It's going to be 1-8, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a drop goal win.
For Leigh, yeah?
Yeah, Leigh, yeah.
Our members have gone the same way. For time purposes, I've gone the same way, and the reason I've gone the same way is history. It's not a good hunting ground, this, for Warrington. Leigh have been doing very well against Warrington, and at the moment, Warrington just look a bit disjointed. I don't think Leigh have been looking superb, but I just think history and also the hoodoo part of us going to Leigh, I just think Leigh will take it by a smidgen. I'm going 1-8. Right, I'll go on home field advantage. Go on, Steph, your thoughts?
I think Joel's got it spot on. I think two very, very similar teams in terms of not only squad but performances. I think the biggest factor in this one is George Williams in terms of is he going to play?
I think he's out. If I'm a betting man, mate, George, especially with the semi-final down the pipe, there's no way they're risking. I'd be amazed if George Williams plays this game. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Ashton doesn't look himself either, does he?
He's carrying a knock.
Yeah, he's carrying a knock. It's going to be thinking, but also Leigh have got Hanley out, Hanley's been massive for Leigh, so Leigh are going to have to do some organising as well. I hope it's a really close game and it's really competitive. It's a tough one for me because obviously you know how much I love you two boys. I've got to go my own team, and you always criticise me for not going confidently. Leigh 1-8.
Reggie.
Shock of the round. Leigh 9-17.
9-17. You're giving him more.
Leigh, because I think Williams is out. I think Williams is going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
Paul Vaughan is played against Hull with a shattered finger. I'm not so sure, judging by a few conversations I've heard after the game, that he's going to play. A couple of other knocks as well, I've heard. Toby King might be back.
King is back.
It's good.
Yeah. But, Ashton, I think, again, another rumour, Ashton's playing with a broken bone in his foot. So, I think that I think
he still got two though.
Say again.
It wasn't his attack; it's his defence. If you look at his defence, he can't push off it.
He wasn't so much Ashton's fault. The sliding defence in that first half from Wire was dreadful for some reason. Don't know why. I'm going to lead 9-17. Unfortunately for me, but
yeah,
it's not a good hunting ground against Leigh at that place.
It's not. I think Leigh at this moment in time just looked a little bit in better fettle, is what I would say. Right, okay, last game. We've got to be quick. Repeat the quarterfinal, of course. Catalan against Salford Red Devils. If you haven't seen it, the bench this week with Ryan Briley, really well worth a watch, folks. If you haven't watched that, go and watch that. Ryan Briley, the bench, very good watch indeed. Right, Greg, we'll kick off with you. Catalan, Salford, briefly, please. Who wins and why?
Catalan 18 plus. For the usual reasons that we've had this season. Catalan, okay, they've lost a few players. Still will be too strong for Salford. And I think 18 plus Catalan.
Fantastic. Joel?
Catalan 1-8. Only because they leaked so many past them. Salford are a better team than us right now. And they'll do better. 1-8. It's true. They are.
I don't know how long he's. For a minute, I thought he'd say, I think we've lost Dave. No, he's not. Anyway, Steph, go on.
Catalan 18 plus.
Cat 18 plus. What did you say for yours? 1-8 for Leigh, wasn't
Yes, Leigh wants to.
Yeah. And, a lot of people saying the same, 9-17s, 18 plus, no real love for Matt. Everybody spare a thought for Matt. Matty Timms, good evening, sir. We feel your pain. But I can't see that going any other way. Right, we've literally got 6 minutes and we're going to do this.
Are you sick and tired of winning your bets every week? Want to contribute to the bookies' Christmas party? The bets to ignore when predicting the score. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bet Steph.
Yeah, so this is this week's Bet Steph. As you'll have seen with my predictions this week, I'm going Wakefield -12. I think they're going to have just too much for Castleford, and I think they've got enough to overcome that -12 handicap. Hull KR -8. Again, we've already talked about it. I just see KR having too much for FC, and I think they've got just enough in the tank to get over that -8. Wigan -10 is probably the biggest one in this, but like we said, sell out at the Brick Stadium. I'm expecting a big Wigan performance based on their brilliant performance at KR, and I think they're going to have too much for St Helens, who are suffering again with a few injuries. Leeds -24. It's a huge handicap to overcome for Leeds, but given the woes that are at Huddersfield and being at home, I think they're going to have enough to get over that -24 handicap. And Leigh -2, so I'm backing the Leopards to get over the line against Warrington. But again, very, very close game, and the bookies don't often get it wrong with those predictions. But interesting, all the teams there I've gone for with minus starts, so that'll be quite interesting to see if any of those come in. If you do decide to bet a pound on that, it's 22-1, and you know what we say: if you bet a pound on this,
you're probably going to lose a pound. But that said, Mr. Sale, I do think there's a bit of value in that.
Do you think?
I do, mate. Yeah, I do genuinely think there's a bit of value in that. I can't believe the Wakey one -12. That's astonishing. KR minus. Bit of value in that. It'd be interesting. Could that be Steph's first of the season?
No.
Okay. Right. Okay. Literally, we're going to bring this to an end. Fantastic night for you who live in and around Warrington. Get yourselves to the Bluebell tomorrow night. Great beer, great company, great laughs, great quiz, all with a link to Rugby League. There will be Rugby League questions in there, and any of the other questions will be linked somewhere to Rugby League. It's a great giggle. Trust me, Andy, Emma, they'll tell you. They were Wigan fans. They made the pilgrimage last month. They absolutely loved it.
It's a great night.
It was a great night. Come and join us. Please do. I will be in touch with the members further afield in the next couple of days. But look, bottom line is get yourself to the Bluebell. For those who joined us late, yes, we have got a special offer. Promo code MAGIC for members. It is now a baseball cap and a T-shirt for Magic. 50 notes. That's right, 50 notes for both. Get yourself all kitted out. Proudly display Magic Weekend like we will. The Super League Raw logo. We really would appreciate it if you could get on board with that. And all that's left to say is yet again, thanks to everybody on the screen for their company and for their input. Absolutely outstanding as always. We will be back next week for more Super League Raw Weekly, because gentlemen, you can't
be weekly.
Here's the top performers up to round 7. Bye for now.
Here are your top performers after 7 rounds of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer is Jai Field with 8 for the Wigan Warriors, a beauty at Craven Park. The top try assister is Jack Wellesby of St Helens with 12. The most metres made thus far this season have come from Liam Marshall of the Wigan Warriors, 1,140. The most clean breaks have come from Bevan French of the Wigan Warriors with 8, as 2 have Jai Field and Joe Burgess. The top tackler is Ollie Partington of the Catalans Dragons. He's made 302, don't you know? The top tackle buster, bruising, Tessie New, 45 for the Leigh Leopards. Whilst the most hard meters you're going to be a prop forward, second row who's forward in this one is Big Alex Walmsley of St Helens, 1,008. The most offloads have come from the Herminator himself, Herman SASA 17 and counting for Hull FC. Whilst the most goals have come from Mark Percival of St Helens with 26. These are your top performers after 7 rounds of the Betfred Super League.